Commanders family, welcome into Command Center. Now we're starting things a little bit different right here because Adam Schefter reported that the Washington Commanders traded a 5th-round pick for Deebo Samuel. Now we've heard a ton of reports, however, things aren't official until next Wednesday at 4 p.m. But fellas, we got to talk about it, right? We got to speculate. There's all of the buzz. So first things first, if this trade is correct, if this trade goes through, Tanner, how are you feeling right now?
If this trade is correct, and we get Deebo Samuel for a 5th-round draft pick.
Man.
Put the money in the bank.
It's a no-brainer.
Put the money in the bank.
You have an all-pro for a draft pick that you don't even know is gonna make your squad. I think it's great. I think it's great on behalf of AP and those guys going out there just doing what they're doing. It shows the value in having a guy like AP in house that he can go out there and get talent and add to what we have. Right now coming into the season, we don't have that many receivers on the roster, and then you add a receiver slash. Swiss Army knife,
whatever you need.
And then Deebo Samuels. I just say that. I mean, when you mention his name, you know what he brings to the table. I think it's great.
Hey, I can just picture him riding around Ashburn on that bike. You know what I'm saying? Just walking around here taking a snatch and change. That's what I think it's just a perfect fit. I think it's a great job by AP understanding a team that's under duress, that has to make a move, and not because I can see us 3-4 years ago just saying, here go a 2nd-round pick, here go a 1st-round pick. He understood they was in distress. He understood they had to move an asset, and he went in and he got the asset, and now it's an asset for us.
Yeah, I think maybe the most important part of it is that he fits the Washington Commanders culture, right? We talk about how a dog competitor, you watch the film, man, he is a maniac. He plays with violence. He's physical. He's not afraid of anybody. And when Kyle Shanahan says it's one of his favorite players he's ever coached, man, I'm all the way in on that. So I think it's a great addition. And he's going to be a great cultural piece moving forward.
And Logan, you mentioned fit, and I think that's what made everybody so excited. Because you think about Deebo Samuel, then you think about the mind of Cliff Kingsbury and what he can do with players like that. We saw what he did with Austin Eckler. How do you think Deebo Samuels fits in this offense, and how excited are you to see Cliff get his hands on him?
So I'm really excited because I think one of the things about Cliff in this offense that's great is they do a great job through formation of creating a ton of space, right? And one of the things that Deebo does such a great job of is he maximizes space. He's going to break tackles, he's going to make people miss, and the more feet you give him around him, the more devastating it's going to be. So there doesn't need to be a huge departure from what they did last year. The quick game was excellent in terms of creating space. The RPO, the zone read, the screen game, all that stuff is on the table. And again, it just makes it a little bit more efficient, makes you a little bit more explosive with the addition of one piece. So I absolutely love this idea. And again, now it's up to Cliff to kind of maximize that role and that personnel, and he's done a great job of that so far.
And Tanner, you've been that wide receiver coming into a new spot, coming into a new room. How does a guy like Deebo Samuel not only affect the wide receiver room, but this entire offense?
I think it's going to re-energize him. I don't know if that's a word or not. But no, honestly, I think when you get a guy like Deebo coming off of last season, probably wasn't one of his best. And so many guys got so much to say about him and his game, his size, you name it. He's coming in here with a chip on his shoulder, and not only having a chip on the shoulder is going to do, justice for him in his career going forward, but bring something to the table here that we didn't have. We had a lot of talent, last year. But when you bring a guy in that can be a receiver, that can be a slot receiver, that can be an outside guy, that can go line up in the backfield, that can do so many different things. And then what he said, he's a dog. And that's what they want. They want dogs around here. So he's going to add to what we have already, and you're going to see a guy that's going to go out there and try to prove a point.
And Fred, Tanner mentioned it, man. As much people are excited about this, there's a lot of haters, especially Philly fans, man. I've been getting blown up. Well, we're not scared of Deebo. He's out of shape. He's washed. Fred,
every year something new.
Some of the best, man. Tell us why those people are wrong and why when you see a guy like Deebo Samuel, you get nervous as a corner.
Like Deebo, like me.
Fred, you get nervous?
Hey, no, I'm just used to being around haters. Like you, like Santana. I'm used to being around that.
You the biggest hater. You used to be around yourself, huh?
And guess what Deebo is used to? The haters. He's been naysayer since he came out of South Carolina. He can't do this. He can't do this. And all he does is go prove people wrong. That's the one thing about athletes I love. You don't really get tested at an athlete until somebody tells you something that you can't do or you can't achieve. And the one thing that really revigorates us and makes us really focus is either being traded, released, going through something like that. And then think about this. He had already proved to the San Francisco fan base who he was and what he was. Now he wants to come here and prove to Washington fan base, who am I? What do I bring to the table? And guess what? He has a deep-rooted hate for the Philadelphia Eagles. So therefore, he's already part of the group. So it's fine when it comes to Debo. I have no problem with him. I think he's going to be okay.
Fellas, appreciate y'all insight on that. We had to start the show with that because it is huge news. Now, we have a very special command center for y'all. We are looking back at the 2024 season, our offense at the 2024 season. Then Logan gets in the film room, and then, fellas, I think we got to talk about offensive standouts since we just added one in. All that and more starts right now on Command Center. Welcome into Command Center. Brian Colby Jr. here with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and Logan Paulson. And you know, we like to switch things up for y'all from time to time in the offseason so we get to have some fun. Now, you're all familiar with the music apps that are rap. Y'all look good. You look real stoic, Logan.
Thanks,
We're real relaxed. Real comfortable.
I don't listen to music, so I know what you're talking about.
I actually believe you. So, for those of you that do listen to music, you guys have maybe done something with your music apps where you have a rap where it tells you all the music, all the hits, all your favorites from the year. We're going to do that, and we're going to do it with the offense, and we're going to do it with the defense. But this episode is all about the offense. So, fellas, to get it started, Logan, I'm going to start with you. Just give me a favorite moment that comes to mind when you think about our offense this year.
So for me, it was probably the second game from Philadelphia, right? Yeah. Just all the adversity that the team faced in the course of the game. Like there's 5 turnovers, they're down big, you're like, oh my gosh. And then the offensive composure. That's like kind of when you knew it was a real thing to me. Yeah. I mean, there was a million moments. You could have picked 1,000 of them. But the stick-to-itiveness, the playmaking ability, the touchdown to the end of Jamison Crowder, like to win that game, last possession, like that was something special to handle that adversity.
Did you steal my answer?
I did, yeah. I wanted to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Is that what you were going to say? Really?
Let me regain my
No, is that what you were going to say for us?
Stop. Coming down the
Santana was looking
Is
at
that
me.
right? Nice.
All right.
Feel so betrayed.
All right, so I'm going to go.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say Zach Ertz against the Atlanta Falcons.
Dude, Inception. You just Inception me. I thought that was an original idea. I'm sorry.
Dynamic duo, baby.
Another walk-off. The way that they ended that game, the adversity that they went through, for Zach Ertz to make that play in the end zone, unbelievable. But what I really wanted to say was the Super Bowl champions, we beat them at the end with Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say.
Oh, mine has to be the first primetime game. That was a Monday night game against Cincinnati Bengals. To me, I think that's where everything started, you know, with Jaden and Terry. That hookup, that pass, that touch pass that Terry told the coaches on the sideline, look, put me on the right side so I can run this route. And he also went out there on his own, ad-libbed a little bit, gave him a stutter go. Man, soft touch pass, got hit in the mouth, and Terry came down with a clutch.
And introduced the world to the new Commanders.
Yeah. Amen to that, fellas. It is hard to pick a play when there's so many great things we did offensively. But fellas, y'all know the drill. We talking plays. Let's take a look at 5 of our best offensive plays this season. It's time for your top 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. And fellas, let's start out in Detroit with this massive touchdown by Terry McLaurin. We call that breakaway speed, Tanner.
I mean, this kind of showed me, man, that he's got some extra juice.
For sure. Jerry Rice-like. You're not catching him from the back.
And Tanner, you're always telling him to pick his feet up, man.
Hey,
this
man,
one he did it.
Hey, he must be heard me over here in these whispers, man. We was talking all year that Terry been getting close, but not picking his feet up. In the last few weeks, they weren't catching him.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a play. And you know, Fred, a little earlier you mentioned that Philly game. We did beat the reigning Super Bowl champs. And this helped us do it right here. This touchdown pass to Jamison Crowder.
Right here, dagger to the future Super Bowl champions right here. Showing them that I know y'all at the mountaintop, but we're not that far away. Take this home with you to Philadelphia right here.
And what a throw, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the route's great, the moment's great, but the throw,
Ice water in his
can't get
veins.
over it. It's such a nice
the
play.
fact that he actually said, you know what, I see Zach Ertz wide open, and I know I'm supposed to throw to him, but I'm going to make this thing a little difficult.
Yeah.
And fellas, I always mention this when we watch this play. He was out. That was his first game back. And you know what, speaking of Zach Ertz, Tanner, we got Ertz getting that crazy touchdown that you also mentioned, Fred.
Yes, most definitely. This is an unbelievable catch, man. I want to give Zach Ertz props for this catch right here. Because a lot of people let let this ball hit the ground. Not this pro, not this veteran right here. He was clutch all year.
I mean, not only being clutch, man, I was at the point to where here we go again. You know, it was one of those drives again, us walking down from that doggone sweep and just getting ourselves in that tunnel and sitting there praying. Again, I found myself praying that whole drive. But for Zach to come up big like that, it just show you how valuable he was for our offense.
And you said pro, but maybe Hall of Famer?
Yeah, no. He's right there at the line.
He holds records, doesn't he?
He's right there at the line.
Yeah, and to me, again, talk about that moment. That's a rookie quarterback making that throw in overtime in front of his home fans. Jaden made throws all across the field. Seems like every receiver we've seen so far has been different. And you know what? Here's another one. Number 2, De'Ami Brown getting it done against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This is when you know you've made it in the NFL, when you get a nickname. Downtown De'Ami Brown.
He called him that for 5 years.
He makes plays when he's asked to make plays. He was big in the screen game. He was big vertical down the field. But this year, he took the red zone catches to another level.
And you don't get that open without a great offensive line play here. Look at these guys going to war, and these guys played hard, and that's how you get. There's no one in within 10 yards of you, man. Great job.
That's how you win right there.
And you talk about a play that makes a name for yourself. Our next and last play has its own name. The Hail Noah. Right here. Anna, you said it. Here once again, man. We're coming down the tunnel. We're sitting there waiting. Our hearts are throbbing. And Jaden Daniels makes magic.
Did you guys see this in the tunnel? Did you see it?
We were right there, man. We heard it.
Look, we actually heard the crowd erupt before we knew that we won the game. I'm like, what happened? Oh, we won. But this right here, man, this is ice veins. The ice water in your veins. Like, look,
this is when it's open. Excuse me. When he makes him fall right there, I said, he finna score.
To do all that, the quarterback position, man, it's one thing being in that situation as a quarterback. Normally you drop back, let me just throw this thing. But he had the patience and the awareness to know that, look here, man, let me get myself a good view, a good vision on those guys so I can heat this thing up there, man. Perfect play. It looked like they designed it. Looked like they coached it that well. And
how
it was all because
hard
of
is
JD.
this catch for a wide receiver, knowing y'all had all these contested catches, and now you got this just falling in your lap right there? How hard is that catch?
You thinking there's a guy behind you, a guy in front of you. You don't want to be short and for him to come down with it, I'm glad he just
just cradling it right there.
He ain't balling with nothing, man.
That's unbelievable right there.
Fellas, what a moment this was. And I think right here is when everybody really started to feel something special this season. It's special with this offense, especially with Jaden Daniels. What a special year. And fellas, it was hard to pick these 5 highlights. So what we did was our amazing features team put together a package of some of the greatest moments from our offense this year. Let's check it out.
Jaden Daniels, there's just so many things you could try to describe or extol about what he's done, but he leads this team.
But listen here, when this money gone, when this fame gone, the only thing you really got is your name and your reputation. What they gonna say about your name? What they gonna say about your reputation? What they gonna say when they turn that film on? I know what they gonna say about me. I'm gonna ride out. I know what they gonna talk about y'all. They gonna say something, some dogs. We some dogs, man. Let's get it. Be who you say you are, man. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Daniels throws down the sideline for Terry McLaurin. We gon' keep on fighting it up. I think it's the wall now. I've been going hard twice. We don't wait to Washington. It's time to go get it. I will never fail. I will not fall. If we go down, we get up and dust it off.
Touchdown! Touchdown Washington! Or got through 2 defenders. 50-40 by 40. 30 by 30. Foot race at the 20. 15, 10, 5. Stays on his feet. Touchdown! Touchdown Washington!
It's time for your winning numbers presented by Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. Now, let's take a look at your receiving yard leaders from this season. Washington set records on the offensive side of the ball this season, with Terry McLaurin setting franchise records for touchdowns in a season and most consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Zach Ertz finished the regular season with the 4th most receiving yards by a Washington tight end since 2015. And my boy Olamide Zaccheaus also made some clutch plays for the Commanders with 45 receptions and 3 touchdowns in crucial moments. Fellas, you see those receiving numbers right there. So let's get right into it and show all our receivers some love. We got to start with 1-7. And we talked about all the things he was able to accomplish on the field. We talked about the records. But one thing I don't think we've talked about enough is his leadership, that veteran presence. Because this was a very, very young offense, Tanner. How do you feel he impacted this team as a veteran and as a leader?
I think big time. I think when you look at the way he showed up week in and week out, never was about him. He went out there and put the work in. And I think that kind of trickles down to just those guys around him, because when you seeing the guy who just for the last four years had 1,000 yards plus. Done it with so many different quarterbacks, not complaining. You know what I mean? Those first 3-4 games, man, the whole world was talking about Terry getting the ball, and he was the only one who wasn't saying anything because he was putting the work in. So I think that speaks volumes to the kind of person he is and the player he is, and it trickled down to all the other guys and made them say, you know what, if he's not complaining, I'm not either.
And I think what Tanner's talking about there is the culture, his ability to set the culture. When the guy at the top is doing it, there's no compromise.
No excuse. Yeah.
And I think when you did, like he did it, Zach did it, Bobby did it, but having a guy that was here already that was able to adopt what Dan was talking about, what AP was talking about, I think that makes it even more special in terms of his leadership role with this group.
But the one thing we know about Terry, he's a good Christian man. So when when I see Terry start yapping, that's when I know he really emotionally attached to the game. And when I see these bogle words come out his mouth, they tell me he's ready to go to war. So he's setting the stage right now. We're coming out here to win this game, and if we got to run through y'all to get that done, that's how we gonna get that done. So I like to see the edgy Terry, and I like to see him because he does it with a smile on his face. Also, so it ain't nothing like going mano a mano with a man, kicking his butt, and then laughing. So I enjoy to see Terry happy, but with an edge.
He definitely had that edge on him. You saw it not only impact him, you saw it not only impact Jaden, but it impacted the other guys. On Game Day Live, we call them those other guys. Tanner likes calling those other guys. De'Ami Brown, Zacchaeus, Zach Ertz. We saw all those highlights that all these different guys. Jaden was able to find different guys at different moments. Fred, as a defensive back, when you know you're facing a team that can hit you in a million different ways, man, how tough is that to scheme against?
Because now we got to scheme for the group. We got to scheme against the offensive coordinator and the quarterback instead of saying, you know what, Tanner likes to run this and Randall likes to run that. No. This is a whole group, and every game that we studied in, another guy is making plays. So when another guy is making plays, my coordinator has to be more honest. My coordinator has to understand we got to stop them as a group. We can't stop them as individuals. And that's why I think when you have these teams with these high-paid number ones that they forcing the ball to, constantly forcing the ball to, that equals losses. Because now he wants his numbers instead of trying to get the win. And it's all about the win. So when you got a group that buys in and understands it might not be my week, but I still need to run my routes the way they need to be run, makes them impossible to stop.
And talk about just affecting the spacing of an offense, right? The ability to say, hey, like, where I can now distribute the field appropriately as opposed to saying, you know, Terry's in a one-on-one situation. I get 5 guys that can catch the football, that can really stress the defense, manipulate coverage structures. I mean, like, that's the way you want to run offense in the NFL.
Different levels. You want to be able to tackle us at different levels with different people.
I love the fact that and I don't want to cut you off, but I love the fact that just when I watch these guys, I guess you can say play together this year, it reminded me of that 2012 season where we had Pierre, we brought him in with big money, but we had the other guys. And I was part of those other guys because I was the guy that just had to fit into my role.
And it wasn't just the pass game, fellas. It was also the run game that really saw an impact. And we got to show love to Cliff Kingsbury as well. Let's take a look at this run. If you show us love to receivers, let's show love to this run game real quick. It's time to secure the W, presented by Hercules Fence. Security in every job. Now, fellas, you take a look at these numbers right here. Jaden Daniels with 891 rushing yards. That was an NFL record. Then, of course, B-Rob. He actually had a career year, 799 rushing yards. To me, that's impressive because he did miss a lot of games, but still had a career year. Great job for B-Rob. Then, of course, Austin Eckler, 367 rushing yards. So, fellas, we see those numbers. Let's really break it down. Now, like I said, Brian Robinson Jr. had a career year. Kind of slowed down to the end. A lot of injuries. We were banged up. We saw our team up and down banged up. But Brian Robinson Jr. still came out hot, finished strong for us too, got some big touchdowns for us. When you look at B-Rob, what did you see from this year that makes you optimistic about what's to come for him coming into this season?
Before I go in and B-Rob, I want to show some love to Chris Rodriguez, too. Because anytime his number was called in and off the roster, he delivered, and he was always ready when it was called. Back to B-Rob. I think B-Rob showed you this year, between the tackles, I'm one of the best in the league getting it done. We see the big run that he had against Tennessee. So he's showing you now I can also break away. And then it shows you when you have a quarterback that's a part of the run element, your linebackers have to be on point. Y'all have to understand what gap I need to be in and how it needs to be done. And the one thing I really love about B-Rob, he wears a defense down. So his imprint on the game can't be measured by yards. When I'm a defensive back and we getting up slow, time after time after him leaning on us, it affects us different in a game than any other back we got in that room.
I think you were saying, like, this is only a second year, like, starting, like, playing a lot of minutes. And I think, like, understanding, like, not only what it takes to be successful on the field, you see the physicality, you see his kind of, like, the physicality that he plays with, the height, the weight, the speed, but also understanding what it's going to take to play
17
games. It's different, right? You
Yeah.
got to take care of your body a different way. So I think that's something interesting to see him kind of mature. And that's something we all had to do over the course of our careers, is learn what it took to play a full season. And hopefully he gets that done, because, again, he's a special talent.
And Tanner, one of the first additions to this offense that we did in the offseason was an Austin Eckler. I think we all were looking at, what are we going to get out of him? How much juice did he have left? Talk about how he fit in this Cliff Kingsbury offense, because I think we got to see what a guy with that skill set really can do in this offense.
I mean, I think, you speaking of just saying that he fitted, I thought at times he carried us. No pun intended. But, I mean, he was a guy, no, honestly, like, I mean, out the gate, that Tampa game, when we played, Eckler was the bright spot. And then you saw at times, even when we didn't have him, we was missing an Eckler. And he got back in there, he was a guy that just showed up in so many different ways, whether it was running the ball, receiving the ball out of the backfield, kick return. He found a way to just make an impact, and I think that spoke volume, just knowing that here's a guy that had to kind of say, you know what, I'm gonna take a lesser road. I'm gonna come to this team and be that passenger driver and let B-Rob be the guy. But at the same time, he showed B-Rob that this is what it takes to be a veteran, and sometimes you have to endure some of the things you're enduring just to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
And Fred, you must have been paying attention to our production meeting, because you kind of jumped the gun a little bit, bringing up Chris Rodriguez. Let's talk about Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols. Those were guys, it seemed as if no matter who you plugged in, kind of like with the receivers, the guys were able to get it done. When you look at that, how optimistic does that make you about this offense moving forward, that we can take any guy, even the guy that feels like we got him off the street, put him into this offense and find success?
Very similar to how y'all treat me on the Players Club, a.k.a. fill in Frank. Y'all call me to fill in.
Frank.
McNichols, Rodriguez. When their number is called, that's the one thing you have to do when you are a part of a team. This is the ultimate team sport. When your number is called, do not cheat yourself. Do not cheat your team. You need to be ready. And when these guys' number was called, they was ready. So they understand, if I don't make this roster, I'm putting something on film for somebody else to give me a chance. So kudos to those guys, because it's easily to get your mind off of this because it's not going the way you want it to. Kudos to those guys.
And Logan, we can't talk about this run game without mentioning Jaden Daniels. You saw it, right? He broke a record in the NFL. He looked great. He saved us a lot of times with those legs. When you watch the film and you see what Jaden Daniels was able to do with his legs and his arm, how tough is that to scheme against when you're a defense?
I mean, there's no right answer defensively, and I think that's what makes it so difficult. And that's why everyone's looking for a quarterback that can do what he does. Like, he is a special talent. And it's not, again, the physicality special, the speed special, the agility special, but the decision making is also special. His ability to know when to scramble. Like, I almost felt near the end of the year, like, I don't want to call a quarterback run, I want to call a pass and let him make the decision about whether to scramble or not. Because he was so efficient in making those decisions. You couldn't be right defensively. You want to play coverage, I'm going to run. You want to blitz, I'm going to find a way to hurt you and make us right offensively. I think that is the thing that differentiates him, is those rushing yards are all incredibly impactful, and it's in big situations, big moments, because he's making the right decisions.
Man, what a season for this rushing game. What a season for this offense, and that all has to do with Jedi 5, Jaden Daniels. It's crazy to think, not even a year ago, he was walking through these doors for the very first time. And when he walked through those doors, we had him pull up to the old studio. He was on the very first episode of Season 2 of Next Man Up. Let's check it out. Our first in-studio conversation with our quarterback, Jaden Daniels.
You talk about dreaming of being that starting quarterback. When do you think that dream hit, when you're like, this is what I want to do, I want to be an NFL player?
Yeah, it started very young. I want to say like 8, 9 years old, kind of around the time when I started playing football.
Wow.
And then you kind of venture off, and then I got into the basketball phase, and then kind of like 8th grade, going to high school is kind of where I was like, okay, I could really do something with this football thing, take it very serious. And that's when, around the time I put that on my wall, I'll play in the NFL. I didn't know where I get drafted to. I just knew that I had the opportunity to play in the NFL.
And Jaden Daniels did, in fact, make the most of his opportunity in the NFL during his rookie season.
You can still catch our full sit-down interview right on the Commanders YouTube page. It's the first episode of Season 2 of Next Man Up. And what a year it was for Jaden after this conversation. 25 touchdowns, over 3,500 passing yards, and set record and earned accolade after accolade after accolade. Now, I'm going to step out the way, and we're going to send it over to Logan Paulson in the film room for Best Seat in the House, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing? A ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
All right, so we're talking offensive review from the 2024 season and what made this offense so effective and what made it quite historic. And I look at these numbers here, and this is really what it gets down to the bare bones of this, right? Third down conversion, 45%, that's 6th in the NFL. That's them staying on the field. And then you look at this fourth down percentage here, and I cannot state how important this number is. 87% conversion rate. Are you kidding me? Number 1 in the NFL. That allows them to stay on the field. Let's take a look at what it is, because to me, it's players, plays, everything working together, then in conjunction with end-of-game scenario and finding explosive opportunities, man, this offense was a lot of fun to watch. Let's check out this first play versus the Detroit Lions here. And one of the things about this play that I really like is it kind of embodies both things. It embodies Cliff making a great play call, and then the guys, Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz, making it come to life. All right, so we're going to get this little motion out here. Get this motion going here. Out, it's man coverage. Everything across the board, man coverage. Across, man. You can see it. It's good for the quarterback to get this clean picture at the start of the snap. It's outstanding, right? However, Detroit's bringing a pressure. They're bringing a 5-man pressure, a zone pressure, right? And so what a zone pressure is they're going to drop out this backside defensive end. He's going to drop out. He's going to flood a zone, right? You're going to get the 5-man here. This guy's coming inside. And then watch this guy here. He's going to push through to the second slant window, right? We got slants across the board here. Slant. So technically, this backside hook player should take away this slant by Zach Ertz. Watch. So here. They've got this beat. Look at this right here. See this? They're all going to get that locked in. But great job by Zach understanding how to protect a throw. So great call by Cliff. Great call by Detroit. But what makes this thing go? It's Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz relationship. Watch how Zach here kind of works his way back to the ball. You see that? How he attacks the football, comes back to it, protects the throw, gets this first down, and this first down leads to points, man. That's a great job executing this. That's a great job by the call and a great job by the two guys being on the same page and making that go. So in addition to that, we got a special player, man. We got a special player playing quarterback here. Does a great job, allows you to do a lot of things on fourth down, specifically run the football. So here, again, man coverage again by Detroit. Look at this cornerback checking out the tight end, right? Man there. This is a great call by Cliff, understanding what coverage Detroit's going to be in. Watch the reaction. Look at this guy, man. His eyes are in the backfield. Great job with the ball fake. We're going to pull the backside guard. This backside guard, when the backside guard pulls, everybody follows it. He's part of the key, man. He's part of the run read there. Great job. So great job with the call, great job with the execution. And then you got a guy, man, who is special. He's a special athlete. This guy over here on the defensive side of football is a first-round draft pick at corner, right? Watch him outrun to the spot here. Look at him gain this ground and get where he needs to go. Great execution because we got special athletes. And then I see this play, and this play gets me so fired up. Why is that? Because it's easy. We got a really nice wide bunch here. We're going to space these guys out. Make it easy for the quarterback to read this RPO, right? He's reading this overhang hook player here. Watch. As Branch comes up to the line of scrimmage, there's only 2 guys on defense. We got 2 blockers and a guy with the ball in his hand. So this is a great job in terms of play design, right? He sees it, reads it out, gets the ball out. So that's another thing Jaden Daniels is so excellent at. Spitting that ball out, getting it going, right? Get that ball out there. We get 2 great blocks, and this is it. The play is excellent. The play design is excellent. But then we get great execution from these 2 guys blocking their faces off and Terry McLaurin being special, breaking tackles and working his way into the teeth of the defense here for an explosive play. And I didn't know Terry had this kind of juice, but it's great to see this happen, right? And that all starts because of the execution. So when I look at this offense and why they were successful in 2024, they were great on third down. They were great on fourth down. Players and plays, man. Great job by Cliff and getting great execution. Couple that with the ability to find explosive when they needed to. That's why this offense was dynamite in 2024.
Always great to hear from the prospect professor, Logan Paulson. Now it's time for your can't miss moment presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders.
2 tight ends to the left. Here's the snap. James going to throw forward. He does. Into the end zone.
What a catch.
Caught. Zach Ertz, who wants to go to the playoffs? Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington! They win in overtime! We'll see you in the postseason! Mariota in the gun. Eckler to his left. 3 wide receivers to the right. Here's the snap. He's looking left. One-on-one. Throws over the top. That's it! Terry McLaurin! Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington! They've done it again!
Do you believe in miracles? Yes, I do! Terry McLaurin, Marcus Mariota, perfect ball, It is
Fellas, always great to see our radio crew. Fred, I know you love seeing London up in there, don't
Good
you?
to see old Big London in there doing his thing. By the way, he does a great job. No, I give him, but he does a great job.
He does a great job.
Business.
Him, Bram, and Logan, they are standouts, and our offense had some standouts. So let's do that to close the show.
Yeah.
Logan, if you could pick one offensive player that stood out to you this season, who would it be?
For me, it's Zach Ertz, man. He just had such a tremendous year. Over 70 receptions, over 700 yards receiving, multiple touchdowns. His efficiency on third down was tremendous. Fourth down plays, his ability to win versus man-to-man coverage, man. He was a huge cog to keep this offense on the field, to continue making plays. So he's my standout offensive player.
I didn't stick together.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm not shocked.
come on,
But I'm gonna tell you who was the one. Scary Terry, Jerry Rice McLaurin. Like, so at the end of the, this is what this guy has done. The last couple of years he played with, we know how many quarterbacks he played. He got a legit quarterback, and this year he put the NFL on alert.
Yes.
I am here. I'm not going anywhere, and I am going to be part of that top tier wide receiving group. Way to get things done, Terry McLaurin. I am proud of you, brother. You are what it means to be a commander.
Oh my God, I got to come after that. So I'm going with my guy Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring him up, he's a guy that has been a starter for a long time in this league, and came over here and took a lesser role, took a back seat.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that, man, when you've been the guy.
Yeah.
I've been that guy. I've been the guy that had to do the same thing. But not only he took a back seat, he stood out in that back seat. He was a guy that in some games, if we didn't have Eckler, probably wouldn't have won them. So he's one of my top guys, and that's why I thought that he did so special, because it's hard to be in that role to say, I know I still got it, but I gotta play this role.
Yeah.
He did a fine job.
Yeah, mentally he was there.
Yeah.
Fellas, it was a fun show talking about how exceptional our offense was. But every time we break, every time we pause the cameras, Fred's been crying about, what about the defense? What about the defense? Well, you know what, Fred? Don't worry, because next week we'll be back in the same exact clothes doing a wrap on our amazing defense. It was so much fun doing this with y'all. For Logan Paulson, Fred Smoot, Santana Moss, and Brian Cobra Jr., this is Command Center, a special version, a wrapped version. We'll see y'all next week when we hit that defense.